Well, tomorrow's Mother's Day, and trying to figure out what to get Amy for Mother's Day. Well, definitely not flowers. I know. I get her a new toilet. Now, you might say, that seems like a lame gift, but it's a gift that keeps on giving. Yes, it's not as pretty as some flowers, but check this out. Brand new Toto single piece. Right? Ta-ta! So now she doesn't have to worry about cleaning it between the tank and the base, and it's got a kind of a new style where it swirls instead of having that water coming out from the underneath the rim, so it should be easier to clean. So I really think I've outdone myself on this Mother's Day. Love ya. Happy Mother's Day. Hello and welcome to Random Things. This is Ty, and today I'm going to take a swing at changing out a toilet. I mean, how hard can it be, right? So I watched a few YouTube videos on removing, putting in the toilet, different types of toilet seals, which I have two different ones here, and we're going to have to do a game time decision on which one, and I'll talk about the differences in a bit here. And we'll see. Kids is at a soccer game, and I wonder if I can get this done before they get back. Probably not. But it is just a water connection and two bolts, right? So, I mean, come on. How hard can it be? So with that, let me kind of show you what's going on. I'm starting to see water next to the toilet. And so the first thought was, is it the actual wax ring leaking, or is it where the bowl meets the actual bottom half of the toilet? Because sometimes when you lean against the toilet, that bolt that holds it together, that gasket comes loose. And it turns out it's not. See that crack? That's where that water's coming from. And so I think when they set the lid back on, because we're trying to do something, it hit that weak point and then it cracked the tank. And so now I have to put in a new toilet. My wife hated this toilet to begin with, and I think she did that on purpose. I'm just kidding. I don't know what happened. It just happens. So now I'm going to take a shot at replacing the toilet. And then I actually have two separate, seals. One is a non-wax, better than wax seal. And another one is kind of a combo unit where it's got rubber and a wax ring underneath it. So it's a dual system. The idea then is that the reason why I'm kind of going with this style as opposed to just traditional wax ring is, one, I've never done this before, so I'm a little nervous. And then two, with this style, with the rubber, you're allowed to kind of screw up a little bit and reset the toilet when you actually set the toilet down during installation. If it's just a regular wax ring and you set it like not on it straight down, but kind of in the cockeye, and you push forward, you can actually mess up that wax ring. And so I'm gonna try to use this. So, I mean, how hard can it be? Let's give this a shot. All right, so here's the plan of attack. So we will go ahead and shut off the water, remove the water supply line after I drain the tank. After I drain the tank though, I am gonna try to take the tank off the base assembly so that I don't have to try to lift both pieces because it's awfully heavy. Then I'm going to try to remove the water from the bowl itself because there is a P-trap. That's what that snake looking like thing back there is. I saw a video from Renovations talking about a cool trick on how to get rid of most of that water so that you don't have to actually stick your hand in there and try to scoop out or sponge out all the water. It's just kind of disgusting to me. Anyway, so we'll try that hack. And he also has another hack on how to prevent sewer gases from coming up without having to stuff a bunch of rags into the pipe. And so we'll try that out too, and I'll show you how that looks like and how that works, and provide you some feedback for the basic people. Because you watch these videos and it always looks simple, but when you get into it, you're like, man, it is not as simple as they make it look. So let's give this a try. All right, let's get started. But first, let's put on some gloves. I saw a guy do this without using gloves and sticking his hand in there with a sponge and soaking up the water in the toilet. And I'm like, that is brave, bro. Anyway, safety always.
there's still a lot of water in there because, you know, these low flush toilets, the tank looks high. I guess maybe they give it some elevation. I'm not sure why. But you only flushes like down to here. So that means that from here to here, there's still water. So now I gotta get it out. I know I'm cupping it out. I could get a shop vac, but I just don't want to. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm talking about. There's the drain part for the actual toilet, but then there's all that water you gotta scoop out. So I scooped most of it out. Now I'm just gonna maybe do a little sponging, but not too much. Just a little bit of water. Not gonna kill anybody. You can always mop it up on the floor. It's gonna get real messy a little later, I think. Okay, let's see. Where's that damn bolt? Okay. All right. If you're afraid to get dirty, hire a plumber, because they'll do a great job for you. It's just gonna cost you money. Moment of truth. Yeah. Be right back. Okay, so we've taken the toilet tank off at this point. So I actually have a little bidet, so I'm going to take my bidet. Obviously, I want to keep that. That's a pretty cool thing. And then now to finish taking off the toilet itself. That will be the fun part. Did I mention this was a Mother's Day gift for my wife? Because she hated the old toilet. I bought her a new toilet. It's a Toto, T-O-T-O. And the single piece. So she doesn't have to try to clean back here when the boys are a little messy. Happy Mother's Day. By the way, not buying her flowers after this. What I'm going to do at the end of this job is I'm going to throw all my tools that I use into my bucket over here, along with anything else I'm going to save, and then I'm going to rinse it off with some bleach water and then dry it off real good. That way I won't have any of this residual ickiness with all my tools. Not sure if that's what plumbers do, but I sure hope so. That's always nasty. Alrighty then. Yay! Nice and gross. This is me being lazy because I don't want to remove all that stuff, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get around all that. Right. Let me take this out of here. Okay, so now we got the tank off, and so next step is to remove the bowl. Now, in some videos you'll see them, they tell you to get a plastic bag, lay down the plastic bag so that when you pick up the bowl, you put it in the plastic bag, or at least the back side of it. That way, when you move the bowl, because of the residual water that's left in the bowl, it doesn't slosh around all over your house when you try to carry it out of your house. So the way you also get around that is try to get rid of this water as much as you can. So the water that's in here, it's held in there because it's a trap. P-trap, just much like what you see underneath your sink. It looks like a little U, right? And so normally you would then scoop it out or sponge it out if you really want to get it out. So I was watching renovations and he showed a really neat trick, and I've seen this, I do this all the time when the toilet gets stuck. You get a bucket of water and you pour it down the toilet, and that force creates a vacuum and actually sucks it down below where that P-trap is. So at that point, even though there's still some water in there, it's enough for you to lift and move without the actual need of sucking the rest of it out. And so that's what I'm going to try, because I don't really want to stick my hand in there and scoop out any more water than I have to. So let's try this little hack out. Again, this is from Renovision, and it's a pretty cool guy. Check this out. See that? So before, again, you can see the stain, right? That's where the water is. Now it's dropped maybe two more inches. And so that's the same on this side as it is on the back side of the trap. And so when I remove it, hopefully, so long as I don't, shake it like a milkshake, the water should still stay in the bowl while I set it in the bag. And then once I set it in the bag, I should be able to get it outside. And once I get it outside, then if it gets the trash can wet, no big deal. Let's get going. This is nice. It's just a plastic screw, because you actually don't want to over tighten it, because you can actually crack the porcelain. And this is a good hand tool, and that way you don't have to actually over tighten it with the wrench, which many people like to do, because they just want to feel very strong. Hopefully I can lift this up and put it over this bag without major complications. Oh yeah, by the way, I think I caulked it, so you need to cut that caulking around the base of it. That would make sense. Now that I got the bolt off, I have to take the silicone, the caulking out that's put around the bowl, so that I can actually pull the bowl off. The caulking really doesn't do anything in terms of preventing the water from coming out, but it's more like if I spilled water out here, it doesn't kind of seep underneath any kind of unevenness under the tile, and underneath it goes under the toilet and onto the subfloor. So you got to cut that seal now. Man, I gotta give props to plumbers doing this stuff by themselves, because this shit is heavy and pain in the butt until you go to the bathroom. The biggest thing is, how do you grab this? Whew. So this is the other hack from Renovision. Says that get yourself a nice little waxed coffee cup, your local McDonald's AM, PM, whatever, and then you can just use the cup when you're done with the coffee, of course, and then just shove it in there, and it'll be a little plug, just like that. So now I can go take care of business. In other words, not that kind of business, but business. Take this toilet downstairs and get rid of it, and prep all this area for the new toilet. Okay, so we took the toilet out. It wasn't too icky. I still got to do a little bit of cleanup, but you can see the closet ring. That's what they call it. This little blue flange part, right? That's actually part of the sewer pipe. And then this is the actual old gasket. It looks like what they used before was this style, where it's not an actual wax, right? And I'm actually happy about that because I wasn't looking forward to scooping out the wax because the videos on that look pretty nasty. And so the way they talk about what type of gasket they use, at least I've seen it in a couple of videos, was you need to look at the elevation of the closet ring relative to your finished floor. So if the closet ring is flush or above your finished floor, you can use this style. But if it's a flush or maybe a little lower than the finished floor, then you probably want to use something like this where you actually still have a little bit of wax along with the rubber on top. And so this looks like that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to use this one to replace for my new toilet. Okay. Right, so here's all the, comes with some hardware, new hardware to bolt it down because this is all rusted, so we have to return and change that. And here's that piece. Now, interestingly, it has a riser so that you can make it a little higher. So again, if it's kind of recessed, you can make it higher, but because my closet ring is above the finished floor, I don't need that. I think I can just go ahead and use this, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off, clean this up, and then set in the new toilet. And we'll see how that goes. They're both pretty rusted, so I'm gonna try to take this side off first, so the less rusted side, and then see what that looks like, because it's not really cooperating. I take it back. This is the one with a little bit of a wax seal, I guess, and it sits in there with the seal. So I thought it was a waxless one, but it looks like it's not. It looks like it's the one that has the seal, so I guess maybe I will use that one. Icky. Icky, icky. Again, gloves, a must. Okay, so I'm gonna put in the new bolts, but I was thinking about how it got rusted, and it has to do with the water kind of oxidizing the iron on the bolts. So one thought I was gonna do is take some of my actual bike chain lubricant, and I'm going to put a little bit on here. I'm hoping it'll act kind of like anti-seize, and it'll kind of lubricate this part of the bolt so that if it does get wet, it'll repel the water, and then I don't have to worry about it rusting over a long period of time. That bolt kind of got really bad over time, and so hopefully this will make it last a little longer. According to the instructions, if the closet flange, the closet ring, is above the finished floor, you actually don't need this blue piece. And so we're just going to set it in there like this, right? I need to make sure I take the cup out, right? So looking at the old one, they did not remove this little plastic piece, so this little black plastic piece, so I guess you don't need to remove it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that black plastic piece in there and keep using it. Okay, so here's the plan. The plan is to slip this bolt in, kind of hold it in place with these little plastic things that will help hold it in place, and then set the toilet on top of that. I'm debating whether or not to lock it down first with the screw. My concern was whether or not this would then fit underneath the bolt hole. So let's go ahead and I'm going to take a look at that. The sweet sound of a flushing toilet. Okay, so, you know, I didn't show you the whole video of after I set the toilet in and putting on the seat and buttoning everything out and reconnecting the hoses. That's pretty straightforward. Bottom line is, once I kind of had the alignment screws down, put the bowl, the toilet over it, and then dropped it straight down. You can feel that whole seal wax when you kind of push in, and then it sits. And then you just kind of tighten it up. And there's no rocking, that's good. You know, it's hard for me to tell exactly how well that wax seal seals without actually taking it all apart. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep an eye on it, see if I get any water coming out. And then keep an eye on, you know, if there's water coming out of the bowl hole, as well as, I guess I have to keep an eye on the ceiling on the next floor down. But I'm pretty sure it's sealed pretty good. Just, you can kind of feel it, you know, and I know that's hard to explain in a video. But when things kind of slide in right, it just, you kind of feel it because you just kind of, and it sits, right? And so I'm going to wait a couple of days, and if I don't see any water, I'm going to go ahead and silicone underneath just so that I don't have any outside water come into the tank. Now this is a Toto UltraMax II. It's a 2. And what makes it a 2 versus the 1, the big difference is the way this thing flushes, right? You see these little holes, or this hole, this channel? So water comes out, there's 2 channels, one here, and water comes out, it's like a little whirlpool and kind of swooshes it down. And then the trap itself is actually glazed so that it makes it very slippery for whatever you have in there to slip through, right? And so you can kind of see, that's kind of how it flushes. And so with that, you know, all in all, it took about 3 hours. That's with a lot of interruptions. So I think if you're focused, you can probably do this in an hour and a half or so as a beginner, I guess. Probably a plumber get this done in less than an hour, and then, you know, just pay them and be on their merry way. So if you have any questions or comments about this particular install and maybe some of the things that you saw and you want more details of what you saw and that didn't make sense, leave a question below in the comment box. And with that, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like and share button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. That will really help me out. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next random video.